Ukraine and its culture hit hard by the war. The return of major exhibitions and concerts after the COVID-19 pandemic, and works of art in the most prestigious museums targeted by environmentalists. We take a look back at culture in 2022, a year when art was pushed further outside the box.
Culture was among the first victims of Russia's invasion of Ukraine on the 24th of February. But art and music can't be killed, and just 2 weeks after the war began, the Kiev Classic Orchestra performed the Concert of Hope in Kiev's Central Square. In spring at the Venice Biennale, This Is Ukraine Defending Freedom presented a militant art exhibition showcasing works of the greatest contemporary artists on the planet in a show of solidarity against the war.
I brought this big picture here because I wanted the Russian planes to see who they were shooting at every day. You can't miss this 45-meter-long image when you fly over the city, which had just been bombed the day before.
Artists like Nikita Kadan had a special dispensation to leave his country.
This war contains material evidences. Here also like fragments of Russian missiles and fragments of ruined buildings from Kiev.
In May, Irish rock star Bono praised Ukraine's fight for freedom during a performance in a metro station in downtown Kiev, where the U2 frontman also issued his own prayer for peace. Some of the world's greatest artists are active in Ukraine, and in November, it was Banksy who cropped up in the suburbs of Kiev, producing a series of artworks drenched in poetry and politics. In May, the Ukrainian folk rap group Kalush Orchestra won the most viewed televised music event in Europe, the Eurovision Song Contest, with their song, Stefania. The band has been touring Europe and even played the biggest festival of them all, Glastonbury in the UK. Ukraine's President Zelensky addressed the festival goers, who were happy to be back after restrictions halted music concerts during the COVID-19 pandemic. And it was inevitably in London's Hyde Park that the grandfathers of rock and roll celebrated their 60th birthday, with Mick Jagger and Keith Richards visibly in great shape, despite approaching 80 years old. Satisfaction indeed. The world of culture was rocked this year as climate activists targeted museums in Europe and around the world. From the Prado Museum in Madrid to the National Gallery in London, via Van Gogh and Andy Warhol, famous works were symbolically soiled with paint or soup. This non-violent vandalism aimed to denounce global warming and the inaction of governments. This year, campaigns to return artwork stolen by colonial powers gained greater momentum around the world. Germany is now set to return a large number of works to Benin and Nigeria in 2023. The British Museum may also follow suit with the Rosetta Stone, currently on display in London to mark one of the most significant dates in Egyptology, and 200 years after the French scholar Champollion deciphered hieroglyphics. Egypt has not yet made any official request, but Greece, on the other hand, has demanded the return of the Elgin marbles from the Acropolis of Athens, which was stolen by the British in the early 19th century. Reports suggest talks have been held between the British Museum and the Greek government, suggesting a possible return of the Hellenic treasures to their homeland. We end this politically charged cultural year with French artist JR's performance in front of the United Nations in New York in support of women in Iran and their fight for freedom, sparked by the death of Mahsa Amini on the 16th of September.